Good evening everyone and welcome along to League of Europe. We are here for the final time in Season 6. It is Division 1, Round 17, otherwise known as the season finale, of course, for the Brazilian Grand Prix at the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache, otherwise known, of course, as the Autodromo de Interlagos. My name is James Hay, going to be taking you through the stream, as always, on a Saturday night. Mr. Mark Aldridge will be joining me very soon indeed. In terms of the commentary box, he'll be joining very shortly indeed. Believe he has been trying to get tickets to Clifford the Big Red Dog. And if you're wondering what Clifford the Big Red Dog is, have a look, because it's part of my childhood. But there we are, going into tonight here in League of Europe Division 1. Montana, of course, has already wrapped up the championship, so no title fights have we seen in years gone by here in Brazil. Montana leading the way, 240 points, wrapped up the championship ages ago, and actually didn't pick up any points last week in Japan. It was, of course, Justas, who's now third in the championship above Neo, 25 points to his name. Nathan drove a great race there in third as well, and Ism was second, so a relentless 1-2-3. Montana, as I say, 240 points to his name. Verstappen in second on 155. The battle for second is the one we're going to focus on mainly tonight, because Justas is still in contention as well as Neo. So both Ferrari and Aston Martin are still in contention. 139 points for Justas, Neo on 132, Verstappen on 155. So by my calculations, that is a 23-point gap between Verstappen and Neo, so they are still mathematically still within a chance of getting second position, even though Verstappen has probably got one hand, you would imagine, on that second position. Looking through the rest of the field as well, Rocco in 5th on 110, Daniel in 6th on 107, Nathan in 7th on 95 points, with Campbell in 8th on 81, Cantera in 9th on 78, and Dylan in 10th on 64, Wouter in 11th on 63, so that could be quite an interesting battle as well. Yildirim in 12th on 56, only a few points behind them. Izzer in 13th on 43, his best results of the season by an absolute mile. Jensen in 14th on 40, and then a bit of a breakdown to Larkin in 15th. Hyper, Vaporizer, Alphatrix, Repaz and Doom ran off the top 20, and Stephen and Yul Melmat rounded off the 22 drivers that have scored points so far. Luca, TTG, Luca and Yordi have not scored any points, and they are still, of course, still within this championship, even though they haven't attended the last few races. But Montana, obviously wrapping up the championship, the battle for second really is the one we're going to be focusing on. I mean, Verstappen, 155 points. Justas there has got the form compared to Verstappen. He's had 2 race wins in a row. Verstappen out of the last 2 races, compared to Justas, who has picked up 50 points. Azerbaijan and Japan didn't go Verstappen's way whatsoever. He only picked up, out of those 2 races, 16 points. 16 points. That is a 34-point deficit that Justas has already made up on the back of Verstappen. So it is one of those interesting fights that I think is going to spawn throughout the night, as my co-commentator, Mr. Mark Aldridge, has joined us in the commentary box. How you doing, Mark?
I'm good. This is going to be always an interesting track to round off. It's a bit of it's a lot better in real life than it is on the game. But, you know, Brazil, as a young man many moons ago, this was where you finished the season, so I do like that we finish here every season, to be fair.
Yeah, I think the last time an F1 season actually finished in Brazil was 2008, if I'm not mistaken, and that was Lewis Hamilton's crowning first championship. Will he win an 8th championship, of course, tomorrow in Abu Dhabi? That remains to be seen, of course, in real life. I was just saying, actually, about the battle for second. That's the one we're going to be focusing on. Verstappen to Neo, covered by 23 points, but Justas in the middle of them both has had the form recently, and he's overturned already a 34-point deficit in comparison to Verstappen. So Justas, you would imagine, has surely got the form.
Yes, but Neo is quick here, as Dylan said. Dylan wasn't lying, so it's going to be interesting. I think this is going to be quite could be quite attritional at the front. It could be a bit of a train, but that said, it's going to be about who uses their DRS sensibly as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think, honestly, Interlagos is one of these tracks where drivers are going to get caught up in a big old DRS train, especially down the straight in towards Centre S's at turns 1 and 2. Whether or not we'll see a Verstappen Ocon happening like 2019 remains to be seen. In terms of the constructors' standings, though, of course, Mercedes already wrapping up the constructors' standings, but the battle for second again. Haas and Aston Martin raging on that. Mercedes in the lead on 344 points. As I say, already wrapped up the constructors' standings, so well done to them. Haas though in second on 236. Aston Martin only 9 points behind in third on 227, and that's given, I think, because of Neil's really good performances in recent weeks. Ferrari in fourth on 180, they're not entirely out of it. Red Bull are probably their closest battle in fifth on 174. McLaren in sixth on 141. Williams in seventh on 106. Alpine in eighth on 88. AlphaTauri ninth on 71, and Alfa Romeo in 10th on 45 points. But that battle for second, Mark, Haas and Aston Martin, 9 points separating. Looking at the recent form, it's all with Aston Martin at this stage.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's actually finally poised. I would say, with that points difference, I would say it's dead even. Ironically, I feel like it's a 50-50 shot, because the guys, I just feel like Nathan and Nia are going to be better at this track as a combination than Verstappen and Campbell. If I'm being completely honest, more so Campbell, not through his own fault. It's just a bit of a pad track, a bit of an ABS track.
Yeah, a bit of an ABS track indeed, and I think Campbell has been struggling in terms of his own form recently as well, so that will obviously have a knock-on effect to Haas's chances in picking up second. But you never know what can happen. It is Formula 1. Anything can happen. Anything can happen, of course, tomorrow in the real-life fight in terms of the championship. But we are here at the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache, a 2.6-mile circuit, 4.2 kilometres, and then 36 laps awaiting the guys out on track, with the 2 DRS zones, of course, one down in towards the Cida del Lago at turn 4, and then one down in towards the first of the Centre S's through turn 1. And Mark, this is a track, honestly, that I absolutely love to commentate on. It is one of those classic tracks where you're bound to get a lot of overtaking and a lot of battling.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's real fun to drive. You can tell that it does create some. All the corners feel fast paced. You know, even the slow kind of carousel, kind of big left in sector 2. Even that feels a bit of a roller coaster. So yeah, as a driver, a few people won't love it, but most do in a vacuum. It's just some of the advantages ABS get. And talking of ABS, we've got Montana on the wets. I'm sure that's just a placeholder.
I think it is just a. I think it is just a placeholder, but we have seen drivers go out on a set of inters around certain tracks on this game, and I wouldn't be surprised actually if they try and use up as less dry compound tyres as possible, because if you set a lap on a set of inters, I remember Recon around here in TTML last season, he drove on a set of inters around here, he set his lap, but it's to keep a dry set of compound tyres for the race, and that's good given of course how the tyre wear is around this track, because it affects about 6-7% a lap sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's play talk with Montana. Montana, inters is no, wets is yes. Are you predicting a podium?
Probably not. Probably not. If I think, honestly, with Montana, this championship's already wrapped up, Constructors already wrapped up, he's got really nothing to lose, like Oscar Piastri in F2. Nathan, however, just starting up on a lap, on the run down in towards turn 1, through the Centre S, through turn 2, he's lagging quite a lot on this lap, he now comes through turn 3, and now on the run down towards the Cida del Lago, got Justas and Rocco just off the left-hand side coming out the pit lane. Nathan's first sector, 16.4 through the first sector, now in towards the Cida del Lago at turn 4, and he actually invalidates coming through there on the run up the hill, so we'll go on board them with Jensen, who was on a set of medium compound tyres, got Justas' teammate in behind, but Jensen's first sector was in and around sort of Nathan's first sector, and now coming up towards the top of the hill, through now turn number 8, through Peradura, and then in towards Laranja, through Pinheiro now at turn 9, and then in towards Cortavello at turn 10, Cortavello being this next right-handed corner, where, of course, Hamilton and Albon came into contact in 2019, and of course, Albon, of course, a possible podium finish. Jensen, 51 flat through the middle sector is not looking too bad. Now coming through Magulio and Junsao at turns 11 and 12. Now through 14 as the Beetle Stock Boxers. Pretty much a lap of Interlagos complete, even though we've been on with 2 drivers. And now Jensen running towards the line. Wouldn't be surprised if this is a 107 on a set of mediums. mediums, and it is. It's a 107.5 and a set of mediums. That was a quick lap, to be honest, and Larkin has folded up 2/10 behind it as well.
That is rapid. Fair play. That is an absolutely exceptional lap as we've got more people coming over the line here.
Yeah, Yildirim now going quickest, 106.6. The German now out on top. Reuter there in second. Jensen there in third now. Being knocked off his perch slightly. Neil just on up on a lap there. I think he invalidated, if I'm not mistaken. Nathan was invalid. Verstappen's coming through the middle sector. Doesn't look like he's on a comparative lap. Probably just to get a lap in like Campbell has done on a 108.6. But Aston Martin haven't set their lap time so far. And with 4 minutes gone, Repaz now coming around the final corner. 49.9 through the middle sector was very quick. And that is even quicker. 106.4, a good 10th and 3/4 ahead nearly of Yildirim, and Repaz now laying it all on the line. The Mercedes, not the Mercedes you would expect normally out on top.
No, and the two Haas drivers, Campbell and Verstappen, well, they're going to do it the hard way. They're driving. Is it realistic performance, lads? Is that what's going on?
I don't know. I think it's all equal performance, if I'm not mistaken, still within the lobby settings. Obviously, we wouldn't try and give different settings to the drivers. Nathan, however, goes quickest. 106.440. He's 8,000ths now ahead of Repaz. First half's pretty much done, I think. Is through the end of the first sector, 16.4. Rocco toward the line, not looking that quick in the middle sector, but he's running toward the line now, and he goes into 9th. Neil there, by the way, fastest of the medium runners, which is quite interesting. But I always feel, from a set of mediums to a set of soft compound tyre, these drivers are will probably begin to struggle to try and actually get a proper lap time in on a set of soft compound tyres. Yes, the track will evolve, but I always find it difficult for you to go from one lap to the next without invalidating.
Yeah, and as I was just right on board with Cancera, who also invalidates, I'm a big fan of this Alpine combination. Hopefully El Plan for the Spanish duo comes out tonight, because they're good lads. I've raced with them for years, and do you know what? I'd love to see them get a result. Doom often pops up with one every now and again, and it could be this week. Never know.
Could be this week. Let's right on board with them. He is through turn 1. He's on a set of medium compound tyres. Nathan, though, out on top, Repaz second. Campbell now up to third with the second lap, which is quite interesting. So he obviously chose to try and go for another run. Verstappen, by the way, back into the pit lane. And in terms of the championship picture at the minute for second, it is Neil currently out on top. Neil in 11th. Verstappen 14th. Justas 15th. Doom, however, purple in the first sector. Probably not purple in terms of everyone in the first sector, but still a quick first sector nonetheless. He now comes in towards turn number 8, and then through Pinheiro at turn 9, and then in towards Cottovello at turn 10. Gets all out of shape, in fact, coming out through Pinheiro, and then in towards Cottovello at turn 10, and then through what I like to call, of course, the car killer corner, down through turn 11. Really catch the curb through there. You will end up spinning. You could end up taking the Kimi Raikkonen line in 2012 in the Lotus, but June 51 flat through the middle sector, looking too bad. It is 6 minutes gone and qualifying. Nathan out on top, Repaz second, Campbell in third, and now June on the way towards the line. What lap time is this going to be? Probably in around Jensen sort of area, I think, to the line, and he goes behind him only by 8,000ths of a second. So already my predictions are coming quite right so far.
Yeah, good lap from him. Fair play. Fair play. There's obviously something in the tank there. As looking forward to seeing what Montana does from the back, because this is a really interesting track for the All-Strat. The softs can last a long time. It's a pretty basic soft medium as long as weather doesn't get in the way, but you find that the mediums can go a long way. So if there's a well-timed safety car, the safety cars are going to really mess anything up if one comes out. And people are going to benefit, people are going to get really hurt no matter when it comes out. So that's another factor to consider. The Alt-Strat could really come into play if there's a safety car anytime, I would say, after about lap 12, realistically. Maybe 13, 14, so that they can stick on the softs until the end, but anytime after that, they're in a real good spot.
Yeah, I think they can go a little bit further, especially if there's a safety car that comes out very early. It can obviously exacerbate how the tyres will feel later on in the race, and that's why I think majority of the guys are going for that set of soft compound tyres. Conteva, by the way, put themselves up into 8th, 106.7, just about 1700ths of a second off Justas, so not a bad lap there from the Spaniard at all. Jensen is 7/10ths up, but he decides to come back into the pit lane. Cheeky so-and-so as he now comes into the pit lane. Larkin, I think, is the same as well through the end of the first sector. He's 2/10ths up, but whether or not he commits to this lap time, he obviously realises that he doesn't want to try and give his pace away. But Larkin, I think, will probably try and aim for this lap. However, he's just invalidated through turn 7.
Yeah, not the best, not what he's hoping for. But then again, he'll be a fan of the alt strat here. He'll enjoy that, and hopefully he can make something work of it. But I tell you who won't be a fan of it is Verstappen. He doesn't want to be back there. He does not want to be back there with how quick Nathan's looking. There's going to be a bit of pressure on those Haas lads now.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's down in, what, 17th position? Hasn't had a comparative lap time so far. Wouter, by the way, was purple in the first sector. 16.4 from him. So obviously looking quite good in terms of his lap time. As we now ride on board with him coming through turn 11 and then through in towards Junsao at turn 12. And Wouter is 2 tenths down. He's actually lost a bit of time in this middle sector. So Wouter now down in the middle sector. He's lost almost 3 tenths, I think, on this lap time through the middle sector. And is he going to decide to come back into the pit lane? Yes, he's back into the pits, so obviously not wanting to give much away. Wasn't happy with that lap. Jordi, by the way, is in the lobby. His first appearance in quite a few weeks, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And Jordi there in 11th with a 106.9. I think Rocco was also on a lap. He's getting tow from Dylan on the run down the straight. The Red Bulls, of course, like to give tow. Perez, Verstappen in qualifying earlier on, and now Rocco to the line. He goes 7th ahead of Justas, so he's only, what, 1700ths of a second off Izza, so not a bad lap time at all. Nathan the Wild on top, Repaz in second. Nathan, though, was improving, nearly a 10th.5 up in the middle sector.
Yeah, no, that's pretty big. I'm just looking at a little side battle here. There's a battle for the top 10 places here. I think Dylan downwards, but unless they get a real good result, they can't really overtake Pantera. But Dylan, Wouter, Gilgreen and Izzat are all kind of potentially in that battle. Izzat would need a win, realistically, as would Jensen as well. But yeah, no, I'm going to keep an eye on that one through the race, because I think Dylan will want to get a top 10 in his first season up here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, his qualifying so far, he's in 5th, and he's ahead of his teammate by a good 500ths of a second. So Dylan, I think, will be buoyed on by that. Campbell, by the way, I think he's actually down on his lap time. I think he's going to be coming back into the pit lane. I was getting excited there because I thought I saw a purple middle sector, but I didn't. Rocco is not on a lap time either. Verstappen popped himself up to 8th. He's 1,000th off him, as I think that was Neo going 4th as well. So the Aston Martin now up to 4th, and he is now the leading contender out of the leading contenders. 2 tenths of a second ahead of Verstappen, pretty much. So Neo, looking like in the battle for second, he looks on it so far. You said he was quick. Justas, however, who I'm on board with, is looking a little bit quicker. He's a 10th.5 up, though, through the end of the middle sector, through Junsao. Jordi getting off the way to the left-hand side, as now the Lithuanian. 2 race wins, of course, to his name in back-to-back weeks, of course, in Azerbaijan and in Japan last time out. So now Justas on the run to the line, and he goes 4th, so he jumps ahead of Neo. This battle for second in terms of the championship, they might be down, but they're not out.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's the constructors for 4th place. You know, between the Red Bulls and the Ferraris as well. There's only 6 points between them, so yeah, it's a bit of pride, but you kind of want to jump it if you can. So yeah, like you say, it's not over for second place. If Justas can get 18 points, and then Verstappen DNFs, Justas needs a second minimum, obviously, to make it interesting. But I can see that happening. I can definitely see that happening with his pace.
I tell you what, I think Dylan could go towards the top end of the field. He does. He goes 4th, 106.5. He was purple out of everyone in the middle sector, and he spins coming through turn 1. Luckily, keeps it out the wall. Doesn't want to be doing a Nakajima and Coulthard through there in 2008, of course, where they made contact. Nathan, though, out on top. Repass in second, Campbell in third, Dylan in 4th, Justas in 5th. This session has dragged on a little bit. We've still got 6 minutes to go in the session. Cantera is up briefly through the first sector, now through the middle sector. That's looking quick. It's 900s up. There is a brief yellow flag there, but Cantera is up in this middle sector. I think Jensen also on a lap, and Jordi back into the pit lane. Larkin, I think, improved, though, up to 16th as Nathan goes quickest.
Montana set a lap.
He did. I've just noticed that. Where is he? He's 8th. 106.6 on a set of soft compounded tyres. Now, I think he was giving about 70% on that lap.
Maybe he's trying to get for 11th.
Yeah, I think it is.
That wouldn't surprise me.
I think it is. I mean, our drivers, though, going to improve behind him. That's what he's going to rely on most. He's in 8th position. He's only a 10th ahead of Rocco, Verstappen, Daniel. They're all in a big cluster, really. But he's going to rely on 3 of those drivers, basically, if he retires from the session, as one of them even goes quicker. That's Jensen going up into 5th. He's going to rely on the drivers further down improving. Jensen now from a set of mediums onto a set of softs has improved. But look at the gap between the whole field. Nathan down to Jordi is what? Less than 7 tenths of a second? I can't really see, as Izza goes up to 8th, I can't really see anybody else improving bar Montana himself, to be honest.
I think Yildirim could definitely do it. I think Verstappen, Daniel Reutemann. I think someone's going to improve beyond that. I would be surprised if they didn't. But like you said, I'm in agreement. It's a slightly risky time. I might want to go if I would have gone slightly slower potentially.
Yeah, I mean, he's got Yildirim in behind as well. His former teammate, of course. He doesn't really want to be starting around where Yildirim is, out on track. Neo was back out on an out lap. Izza is on a down lap. Jensen on a down lap. So it's really only Neo that is out there now. But is Nathan going to give him a run down in towards someone? No, Nathan's coming back into the pit lane. And I think he ran out of fuel in that as well. He could have easily waited up a little bit for Neo just to give him a slight tow on the way down the straight. And now Neo, 106.5 for his name, same lap time as Izza. Izza set that lap time a little bit later, so that is why he is up into 8th position. Neo there down in 9th. And now, coming through turn 1 and then through turn 2. On board with the German of Neo. Of course, a race win to his name this season. And he'll be hoping to try and repeat that feat, of course, from a couple of rounds ago. Repaz just coming out the pit lane to the left-hand side. And it's a 16.5 through the end of the first sector. I just get the feeling that he's not really pushing on this lap.
Yeah, I kind of get what you mean, but I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. Maybe this is a bit of a fuel burn, because one thing that we're forgetting is that you do start with a lot of fuel. Comparatively at this track, you start with I think 3.6, so there is potential that this is just a get rid of the fuel lap.
Yeah, and he has well and truly backed off that. He's running very low gears, which signals to me, because you normally be running high revs to try and get rid of the fuel. I wonder if he's only got, 2 laps of fuel maybe, and that's all he's committed to really doing. He's in 8th gear. I think he's coming back into the pit lane here, if I'm not mistaken. And running down the straight, he's in 8th gear. That's really strange, to be honest. 9th position, 106.5. Unless it's the fuel burn, I can only think it is.
It must be. It absolutely must be at this point, because it just doesn't make sense. Shrewd. It's shrewd. I mean, at some point, the percentage on the tyres is going to negate that. I think maybe 1 lap is good. I don't think 2 is wise necessarily, but he'd have practiced this. He'll know definitely more than me.
Yeah, well, one of his title rivals is actually behind him now, out on track. It's Justas on the run up in towards turn 6 at Laranja, and it got out of the way just about there, coming through 6, and then through the right-hander of 7, and then in towards the top 8, at turn 8 at Laranja. It's Ferradura, by the way, or Ferradura, through turn 6. I get confused quite easily when I'm not looking at my track map. Now Justas coming through turn 10 at Cotovelo, and then in towards turn 11 and 12. It's looking like a really nice lap, I've got to say, from the Lithuanian so far. He's nearly purple in the middle sector, 50 flat through the middle sector. Campbell getting wide, and he gets a little bit of a moment coming out through the final corner there of Justas. Now through the Speedos boxes, and look at the traffic ahead of him is really interfering with his lap, but he is still going to improve, I think, on this lap time. He doesn't. The traffic affected him, and he nearly goes in the back of the Williams as well when braking.
It was awful. Out of Jinsao, like, it was just cars everywhere. There's cars trying to finish laps, cars trying to start laps. Really messy. Really, and Campbell, I don't think Campbell will be happy with that.
No, Campbell's retired in the pit lane. So yeah, Campbell's retired in the pit lane. Not sure what Verstappen is doing on a lap so far. 400s down through the first sector. Montana's 600s up, but he has got traffic himself. He's actually got Verstappen in front of him. And could this be a little signal possibly to what we see in the race, perhaps? Nathan Noel on top, Repaz second. Now Yildirim goes second. Repaz there in third. And I think Nathan has backed off, so he's not going to improve. Repaz is 300s down. Dylan 500s down as well, but he's getting the tow from Rocco, and this could be crucial. Now for the Dutchman on the run towards the line, and he goes 4th ahead of Campbell. It only gave him about a 1/10 of a second on his lap time, but Dylan goes 4th. Campbell there in 5th. Jensen has also backed out of his lap. I think Jume has backed out of his lap. So has Justas, Izza, Neo, Montana on the bubble. He's backed out of his lap as well, but it's Neil that could try and improve, and now the German possibly try and get further up the field. Nathan giving him a good run. Neil to the line. He goes second. It's an Aston Martin 1-2 possibly. Yildirim there in third, but now now with only 20 seconds to go. Anybody going to else improve further down? Cantera is. He's 10th and a half up through the middle sector. Doom giving them the toe, and possibly Doom could get the toe of Cantera if he backs off toward the line. But Cantera now to the line. He goes 7th, so he knocks Montana down now to 12. Doom there just up on a lap. Justas now on a lap. Plenty of drivers improving. I think we saw Daniel go up to 9th as well. Nathan out on top. Neo in second, but the final laps are now on.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the last over the line with Verstappen, but he's dangerously long on hers.
He is. He's coming through the end of the middle sector. We're on board with him now, and he's 1900 down. I don't think he's totally really involved with this lap, to be honest. The Dutchman, second position, could be possibly going. Justas in 11th, and now Verstappen's down in 16th. So he's really got to try and find a good final sector on the run to the line, and he doesn't even improve in the end. And Wouter in behind could be improving. In fact, he's invalid, and he's going to be coming around the final corner, starts across the line, and Montana goes quickest at 106.2. He had to leave it late, didn't he? He had to ruin Nathan's fun out in front, but at 106.2. Montana out on top, Nathan in second, Neo in third. Normal service resumes at the end of qualifying.
3/10, pretty much dead on between the top 10, which is nuts. And then you go further down, there's 3/10 between 11th and 18th. So, yeah, mental. 6/10 of a second. That shows you the, I don't know, the depth in this division, but also how the margins are so fine in this track.
Yeah, 6/10 of a second separating the whole field. I mean, we've seen close qualifyings around here before. In fact, if you go back on the streams, everyone, in the comment section, check for me, but I think this is the closest qualifying session I think we've had around Brazil in LOE.
Yeah.
I think it's only by like 200ths of a second, but it is the closest qualifying I think we've had, and full credit to everyone who has driven this season. Every single driver deserves a lot of credit for how they've driven so far this season. Montana, though, obviously champion. He's on pole position. Nathan in second, Neo in third. And the further down he was getting, it was getting a little bit tense for a moment there for Montana. I really didn't think he was going to go for pole position again, but it just comes to show, despite him having a few off results this season, how dominant he's actually been.
Yeah, absolutely. He's class above, and he's shown it there. But George Morgan in the chat, a little hello to him, who's obviously very welcome to be looking in these mean streets.
I didn't even see that. Goodness me. Yeah. Good evening, George. How are you doing? I hope it's the real one, by the way. Montana out on top. Nathan in second, Neo in third. 500ths of a second, though, filling out the top three. Fantastic stuff from the top three. Yildirim there in fourth. Repaz in fifth. Dylan in sixth. Campbell in seventh. Best the Haas boys in seventh. Aston Martin outscoring them in terms of that battle for second. Cantera there in eighth. Jensen in ninth. Daniel ran off the top 10. June 11th. It's Justas in 12th. Izza 13th. Yordi 14th. Rocco in 15th. Only 1,000th of a second ahead of Verstappen. Ruta, Larkin rounding off the top 18, and they're 6/10 of a second separating the whole field. Absolutely fantastic. Montana saying, WTF, is that pole with the setup and lap? I don't know. I really don't know.
I just want to point out that June, I'm going to be biased here. I'm going to be like Ziggo and Sky Sports. I'm just going to put my flag out there. I'm an absolute Alpine fan today. El Plan in 11th on the Strat pole position. Let's go. Let's go, the Spaniards. Vamos.
Vamos indeed, but of course we now get to see what tyres everyone is going to be sold, and you would imagine around Brazil it is going to be a simple one-stop strategy to about lap 12, I would imagine, on a set of soft compounded tyre to a set of mediums, and then beyond that it is going to be quite tricky because we see how the tyres really affect, but if there's an early safety car, the further you can go on into the race, and I think that's what Montana could be hedging his bets on. Maybe a late safety car an early safety car to come out. He can dictate the pace from there, and he can try and get the field to go a few laps longer into the race, so the plus laps basically could go on, and everyone, of course, I would imagine starting behind the top 10 will go for a set of mediums, and they can last a good 20 odd laps, then go on to a set of soft compounded tyre, and we'll now see what everyone is on, and luckily for the first time I think all season I'm actually right.
Well, this is it, you know, if there's an early safety car, in some ways I think the medium runners can be quite happy. because I imagine quite a lot of people will pit for the hards. Hards are still quite a decent tyre around here, and they're not going to throw away the chance of getting rid of those softs when they will have to do it a few laps later anyway. Now, where that kind of favours the medium runners is that they can then run long. If there's another safety car, they can put on the hards. If there's one that later on, they can stick on the softs, and the chances are that everyone on the hards will do the same. So, if there's safety cars, being on the mediums is massively advantageous in pretty much most spots. But it's a big if, especially at this kind of level, because all of these guys know how to drive around a circuit.
Yeah, I mean, at this kind of level, you've got towards the top end of the field Montana, who was a four-time champion here in LOE, Nathan, who has won multiple races this season, Portimao nonetheless, that I can remember off the top of my head, and then you've got Neo, who has obviously won races so far this season as well. And then in 6th position, I think is the most interesting of the lot, Dylan won around here when he was in that LOE Division 2 battle last season with Matthias, and Dylan obviously took that win, or took 2nd position, I think, to actually win the championship. And him in 6th position, he likes Brazil, and I think he's in a very good shout to have a good race here, which he hasn't really had so far this season.
Yeah, I'd have to. I think Larkin won't be too happy with you saying that Dylan won the title.
Larkin was title, wasn't he? Oh my god. You can tell it's been a long season.
But yeah, no, Dylan is quick here. Dylan is very, very quick here. So, and I think he did have a good result that race. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this one pulls out. And Justas on those mediums is probably the most dangerous, you would think, on reputation and performance and pedigree. So keep an eye on him. I'm going to go Montana, Neo, and Justas for the podium.
Interesting. I think Rocco has got a good chance from 15th position. He's normally quite strong around here. Watch out for him further down the field, because he's going to be right up in the vanguard, I think, at the end of lap 1. But now, the 5 red lights are about to go out here for the final time in Brazil for Season 6, Division 1, about to get underway, and it is 5 red lights, and away we go. And Montana gets off to a very good start. Nathan can pull alongside though, and Nathan actually in the second phase of the got gets quicker, and Izzo spins coming through turn 1, and now coming through turn 1 safety. Montana leads, Nathan in second, Neo in third. The Mercedes and the AlphaTauri are side by side of Yildirim and of Repaz, and Repaz gets the traction out of turn 3, but now running down towards the seat of the Largo. At turn 4 they go side by side, but it is Repaz who comes out on top. Yildirim now in 5th, Campbell in 6th, Dylan in 7th. Further down the field, Juma losing positions. Is it, I think, overspun it coming off the start line, and that's why he's down in 17th position. So a dreadful start from our man from P2, but Montana leading the way, Nathan in second, Neo in third. A really good start, but Izza spinning in the background, making him lose a lot of positions, picking up, of course, second last week.
Yeah, I wonder if Juma damaged. He seemed to just back out of everything. It was really strange, actually, or maybe got some illegal overtakes or something. Very, very, very strange. But I'll tell you what, Verstappen's made some moves there as I was riding on board at the back of the field. So he's made 2 places. Larkin played 3. Rocco, as you kind of predicted, well played, has made 3 as well. So a lot of movement in those medium runners, not so much in the soft runners.
Yeah, they're all the position changes for everyone, as you mentioned. 3 positions gains for Rocco and Larkin more than anything else. Montana, though, leads the way at the end of lap 1. Nathan in second, Neo in third. And the front 2 beginning to pull away slightly. Neo just seems to be struggling slightly for that set of soft compound tyres. Wuta and June both into the pit lanes. I think you might have been right. Certainly one of the Williams had a bit of damage. June certainly had a bit of damage as well, and he's back into the pit lane to repair his front wing. Yildirim there on the back of Repaz, getting close enough down in towards turn 4. Doesn't get close enough this time around though, but the front 2 honestly beginning to put a stranglehold on this race even this early on. Montana and Nathan just seem a little bit quicker than Neo. Repaz struggling in behind to try and latch onto the back of Neo, and honestly it could be the case where it's Montana versus Nathan for pretty much the entirety of this race.
Absolutely, and the one person, well, the people that will be really begging that train doesn't break is Justas, Rocco and Jordi, because they will want that train to maintain its kind of compactness so that they're not too far off the back of the lead for when they eventually get onto those softs.
Yeah, Dylan on the back of Campbell's looking quite close as well. Further down the field, the Scotsman and the Dutchman, of course, Dylan, who I think previously won around here, if I'm not mistaken. He certainly didn't win the championship last season, that's what we can probably tell. But Dylan there in 7th, on the back of Campbell, not close enough down in towards turn 1. I wonder if Nathan is going to have a run down in towards the seat of the logo at turn 4. Nathan 4 tenths behind. I don't think he's going to be close enough. He hasn't got the ERS in deployment. I think he's just going to sit in behind. Speaking of not sitting in behind, though, Daniel on the back of Cantera, 8th and 9th position. The McLaren now side by side with the Alpine, dives it down the inside line. Can the Dutchman get the move done? Forced the Spaniard out wide, and that is clean. Daniel is through and he's into P8, not like Verstappen and Hamilton in real life, of course, but Daniel now through and he's into 8th position. Cantera and now Jensen sitting behind, maybe waiting for a little bit of an accident to happen, but Daniel, clean as you like, a little bit of side-by-side contact, but all's fair in love and war, and he's through and he's into 8th.
Yeah, good move, and showing that you can go two abreast in that corner. Looking at you, real life F1 performers.
I know, I think, honestly, they need to take a lesson out of our boot, to be honest, here at LOE. Nathan is getting close to the back of Montana. I wonder if he's going to try and have a run this time around. Montana's looking to the inside line, gets a good run, and Nathan is just literally saying, you know what, you can have P1 currently, but I know Nathan has probably got the pace. Neil looks like he's beginning to pick up the pace in behind as well. Daniel picks up the new fastest lap of the race at 109.2. Well, Montana leading the way, Nathan in 2nd. It is going to all build, I think, to a big crescendo later on in this race. We normally see, in terms of how the races normally run, the second halves are normally better than the first. Jensen on the back, though, of Cantera down the inside line in towards the seat of Delago, and that was clean sailing down the inside line, and now Cantera will try and get the switch back underneath, but he can't, and Jensen out through and he's into P9. So Jensen picking up his spot there quite nicely. Cantera just seems to be overworking those tyres slightly, and I can certainly see a front right blister beginning to occur.
Yeah, and that's just kind of clinging on in the background. What I think is really interesting, though, is that Nathan obviously isn't going full tilt at Montana, and what that's enabled is Neo to kind of creep back in and concertina him back into this kind of battle, leaving him some breathing space, because Nathan, if he really wanted to push, probably could, but there's no point pushing to the point where you're 1/10 behind someone and he's burned a load of hers. So good teamwork here, and he's going to wait for the right opportunity to get Montana, you feel.
Yeah, Campbell on the back of Yulbrim in behind. Is he going to try and make a launch around the outside and towards turn 1? You bet he will, but Yulbrim just lucky enough to try and hold ahead, and the AlphaTauri remains ahead in 5th position. Campbell there in 6th, and now Campbell on the back of Yulbrim trying to get the move done. Nathan is looking close on the back of Montana, but is not going to get the move done, and in fact we're just going to run single file pretty much in towards turn 4 to beat us at the seat of the Largo. Even though I'm getting confused with some of these Brazilian corner names. Montana leading the way though, Nathan in 2nd, Neo in 3rd, lap far at 36. Been an uneventful start, to be honest. Some nice overtakes in there, but as I say, it is always the second half of the race that gets going more than the first. And Montana holding his own out in front, but Nathan is there on sufferance and they're on pace, and Nathan is really beginning to try and push Montana now.
Yeah, no, I find it quite fascinating. You know, some of the more, this is quite a nuanced strategy battle realistically, you know, and I like how it's kind of involving the medium runners as well. You know, they need to be careful because it can be too cute. As Nathan has got a great run here, you might as well use it, and I think he is this time, yeah.
Montana just offers the inside line coming through the final corner, and there goes Nathan for the race lead, but Montana, I think, has done that for a tactical advantage. Campbell trying to go all the way around the outside of Yulbrim as well, in towards someone, not close enough. There is a yellow flag in sector 2, and I think it is Wouter. That is, oh no, it's June, sorry, that is spun. I saw two cars in the same area. I thought it was the Williams. It's not, it's the Alpine of June who was spun, I think, into the wall there at the top of the hill coming through turn 11. But Nathan leading the way, Montana now in second, and Nathan has been put in front, and I honestly think Nathan didn't want to be out in front. He didn't want to be there. Montana, it almost looked like, before he overtook, Nathan had the pace. Can Nathan now back this up with hard facts out on track, and can he now begin to break out the whole field?
I think he needs to be careful that he doesn't play what Montana's hoping he does, which is burn a load of hers unnecessary, and Montana just stays within the 1 second. That's probably the most important thing for him right now. If he can break it, fantastic. But also, get Montana to the point where he has to use some hers, which he's doing now. He's having to use it to keep with Nathan, which is exactly what Nathan needs to do.
But looking behind them, Neil beginning to pick up the pace in behind as well. I thought there was going to be a moment where he was going to try and close in towards turn 1. But yeah, Montana having to work quite hard. Nathan has got the pace, even without the DRS. and now he begins to pull away once again. 0.5 of a second. Montana there in second. Newbury and Campbell looking like they're about to go into a ding-dong battle on the run down in towards turn number 4 once again. But Nathan out on top. Montana in second. It's all building very nicely indeed. Justas is latching onto the back of that DRS train and behind. Rocco barely off that DRS train as well. He's just a second in behind on the back of Justas. But Justas currently doing a good job, of course. He's fastest of the medium runners so far. Better positioned on a set of mediums as well. And Rocco has got to try and close in on pace to try and close in on the back of Justas. I mean, Justas is there saving 70% of ERS, and Rocco's got 22% of ERS. So really, the advantage on the medium runners is with Justas.
Oh, absolutely. I think that will be the first break in the train, unless there's a spinner, because he's really having to work that back train, which is not what you need to be doing. Obviously, it's kept him in that second, wise, but it's just going to impact him further down the road.
Yeah, Mr. Daniel Hogarth, by the way, in the comment section, as Dylan is about to go side by side, I think, with Campbell on the run up towards turn 1. Campbell coming across to the right-hand side, and now Dylan trying to go all the way around the outside line, and Campbell just shuts the door completely. The Scotsman on the back of the in front of the Dutchman there, but the front wing literally takes no hit, and Dylan there in 7th, Campbell still in 6th position, and remain as we are. Still very close in terms of the racing out on track. Daniel Hogarth, by the way, in the comment section saying, Pens will be very important because I don't think this train will break. Unlike a Northern Rail service, this train will definitely not break. But Nathan leading the way, Montana in second, Neil in third. I had to try and throw that in there. If you got that well done. If you didn't, well, unlucky.
No, just be blessed that you don't have to deal with British Rail.
Definitely. Rocco, Neil, though, still on the back of Montana, 4 tenths away, and Montana in this middle sector, he just seems to struggle. Nathan looks like he's got the advantage over Montana, and 6 tenths of a second again, but now he's beginning to use up the ERS, and I think, crucially, he's closer enough this time around compared to what Nathan was. And is he going to have a lunge down in towards turn 1? He's closing in the champion, the Swissman, down the inside line, but he doesn't commit the move, and Montana stays in second, and I think that's smart, possibly for Montana. Yordi, however, getting through on Rocco down the inside line and towards turn 1, gets the job done in the Alfa Romeo, and he's through, and he's into 12th position. But Nathan's still holding that in front. Montana, pretty much like we've seen all season, really, in terms of these battles, doesn't really want to try and go for the move because he realises that he can probably save up a lot of ERS and let Nathan just drag him along.
Absolutely. I think Justas will be a bit concerned that Cantera is dropping back a little bit from this battle ahead. He does have some battery though, so he should be able to... Oh, and it's so concertine. It's unbelievable. If you ride on board with Cantera, it almost looks like it's under SC conditions. It's absolutely insane.
I have a look at the gap to the leader, actually. From Nathan down to Cantera, it's 4 seconds. 4 seconds covering the top 10. Put into Justas, and that is 4 seconds covering the top 11. And top 16 are covered by 8 seconds, which is unbelievable. For Brazil, it is absolutely insane, and it's coming to show the talent that we actually have. Daniel, however, on the back of Dylan now, down the inside and toward the final couple of corners, through 15. Neil was into the pit lane. We'll come on board with that in just a second. But now Daniel on the inside line. Has he got the move done down and towards someone? Dylan runs out wide, and now Daniel should sweep around the outside line. The former VRT man, of course, and now Dylan is still side by side, and Jensen could get involved in this as well. And now Daniel on the inside line, Dylan on the outside line. I think Daniel's just about to have this one down in towards the seat of the Largo. Daniel is through, and he's into 6th position. Had to pick and choose his move there, but it's a nice move nonetheless. Dylan didn't want to give up the fight, but really good battling from them both, and Daniel now through, and he's into 6th, and this is what causes now the big Constantino effect in terms of the train beginning to break from 5th onwards.
Yeah, that's the thing. They just battled just not enough to lose that train, but Cantera will be breathing a huge sigh of relief as he gets right back into the state. Justas as well. And I tell you what, it's allowed Nordy to close up a little bit. He's still not within DRS, but if they keep doing that, the guys behind are going to rejoin this train all the way down to Izzat.
Nathan's into the pit lane. Nathan in. Montana doesn't follow him in. So Nathan, both Aston Martins in at what seems like a very good pit stop. 26 laps, it seems, on a set of medium compound tyres. It should be quite manageable for about 60% tyre wear. So it's not a bad move here from Nathan at all. He's coming out the pit lane very soon indeed. Neo is coming through the left-hander of turn 15 on the run down the straight. And Nathan coming out as Yordi is spun coming through turn 3. So this will have a knock-on effect in behind. Izza on the the back of Larkin as well. Not quite close enough to getting the move done, but Nathan is crucially ahead of Neo. 1.8 seconds though between them both, and seems like Overcut could be the way to go.
Yeah, it's a bit dangerous because we've seen Montana's pace when he gets fresh air. I tell you what, those Astons would have been crying when they saw that on the mini-map and the yellow flag of Yordi, but they get away with it. And I tell you what, they won't be happy getting stuck behind him, because if he's got damage, I mean, if he doesn't, his tyres are going to be absolutely red hot. Is he going to move out of the way? He's not. Now this is awful. This is the worst case scenario. And I tell you what, Nathan, you can't push him out the way, man. Like, that's the problem. It's not a look.
Oh. Shoot, he's going to have to lunge it down into John Sauer, and he does, and he absolutely sent it. It's almost as if Yordi, to be honest, is going like, well, an AI car. If I've got to be honest, he just looks very, very pedantic and slow, and he's into the pit lane, as just has to spun. Oh, Montana's lost the lead as well. I've just realised that. Montana's lost the lead to Repaz.
We've focusing on the wrong stuff though, blimey, but that is crazy. I tell you what though, Nathan and Neo will be spitting feathers at that and will not be happy. But Nathan nearly lost the wing in his impatience of it, and that's the issue.
Yeah, I think when impatience kicks in, Nathan is probably not the person you want to try and associate with impatience. I've seen it in another league that I commentate on Tuesday, and it was around Italy a couple of weeks ago, and he was very impatient then. So hopefully this side of him doesn't really come back to haunt him in this race. Nathan there 13. Repaz, though, is splitting Montana. 1 second the gap now, and Montana seems to be struggling. Has he made contact with somebody is what I'm immediately thinking. Montana, though, is into the pit lane. So Montana now in. Yildirim stays out. Campbell follows him in. I wonder if Verstappen is going to stay out as well and all of this on a certain medium compounded tires, you would imagine so. But Montana into the pit lane. No front wing change, but on go a set of medium compounded tires. So he's gone a little bit earlier. Where is Nathan though? Nathan and Neo, I think, are going to be ahead by quite a margin.
Yeah, they should get through. It's
easy.
Yeah, easily. Absolutely easily.
God, it's nearly 2 seconds, the gap, in fact, coming out the pit lane. So Montana, whatever that mistake was, whether or not he's had a half spin, I don't know. We didn't run on board with it. In behind, though, Dylan on the back of Campbell looking to the inside line. Crucial for Dylan in this move and gets down the inside line. Lovely stuff, that, from Dylan, and he's into 14. But we're not sure what happened with Montana. Whether he let Repaz through to try and extend his own stint remains to be seen. And whether or not Repaz is going overcutting, trying to overcut both Aston Martins, it's a little bit confusing, to be honest. I really wanted to see what happened with Montana, but he got overtaken by the race lead, by Repaz, and then Yildirim in behind, obviously, was just there.
Repaz does this a lot, though, doesn't he? He stays out. He really extends his soft stints, which is quite interesting. I haven't seen too many people do that on this game. And, yeah, Montana's really up against it. He's right behind it, because those Astons have got a lot of clean air, and he's not in the DRS.
And I tell you what, I think Yildirim is going to be side by side with him here, coming out the pit lane. He is ahead of him coming through the inner section, really, and he is going to be side by side. He's going to be behind, but not by much. Yildirim on the inside line is only 5 tenths behind Montana, and that is big. Luckily, Montana's already wrapped up the championship. Otherwise, we'll be talking about Verstappen possibly outscoring Montana. But Montana's already wrapped up the championship. He can hold back slightly on what his performances have been. But Yildirim, they're in 11th position. He's there on his own sufferance, and Yildirim and Montana, one former teammate to another. This could be quite interesting.
Yeah, one thing that happened, Dylan got out of the pit lane with hardly any errors. He'd absolutely burned it. Sorry, Campbell got out of the pit lane, and he overtook Campbell. Now, I thought that was an error, because he could have used Campbell's pace to kind of stick behind, and what it's meant is that actually they both broke that train. I mean, Campbell's looking in danger of getting back into it, but that might have actually cost both of them. So the DRS trains here, I know we talk about them a lot, but they are so crucial.
Yeah, they are really crucial. I mean, Jensen and Daniel are not entirely out of this train either, so this really spawns from where Montana currently is in 10th, and then Yildirim in 11th, and then there's a little bit of a gap. But if Campbell can bridge that gap down to a second within the corners, he's got a really good chance of latching Dylan, Daniel, Jensen all onto the back, and then we have the same well, we have the same privilege really to commentate on a big old DRS train, and pretty much everyone covered by 4 seconds out on track, and that's what it could possibly be. Izza, by the way, on the back of Larkin, looking quite close. He's 3-4 tenths away roughly, coming out through turn 9, but Repaz still leading the way. Cantera second, and these are the guys that are extending their stint. Where is Repaz going to come out in all of this though? I think he could be behind the likes of Campbell, Dillon sort of area possibly, if he's still extending his stint, as now he comes... No, he stays out another lap.
Yeah, quite odd. Rocco is just in that DRS zone of Verstappen, and these guys are going to be loving this, because if there is a safety car, if there is a VSC, they're in a great position. They can stick on these softs pretty much from now, if I'm honest. They will get there, just about, particularly if there's an SC. So yeah, don't rule the lead soft medium runners out as well.
Yeah, Cantera's joining right on the back of this train. It means he's going to be out of the DRS train really to Jensen and Daniel, who are just ahead of him out on track. But it's going to be about 2 seconds of the gap, and that 2 seconds can easily bring... Oh, 3 seconds now of the gap, in fact. That can easily be brought down by Cantera. We know how quick he actually is. Larkin on the back of Rocco. Look close down in towards turn 6 there. Now through 7, 8, and then in towards Pinheiro at turn 9. Repaz still extending this stint out. 7.2 seconds of the gap. Softs obviously going off the cliff, you would imagine, on that tyre, but Verstappen really not having a good deal of things out on track either. 7.2 seconds, it's staying quite stagnant between them both. Verstappen only really catching, and now Repaz is into the pit lane, and I think that extension of his stint is really going to come back to haunt him, because Montana and Neo are coming through the final couple of corners. Repaz is going to be possibly even behind Jensen in all of this.
Yeah, and Montana's got back into that DRS, which is a monumental effort. Fair play, that is scary to be able to get back into it when you're out of it. But yeah, this is going to be costly for him. Look, he could come out right behind all of it, or in the middle of it.
He's going to come out right in the middle of it. In fact, I think Jensen could actually get him because he got the overrun. And yeah, Jensen is going to be ahead, I think. And that, I think, was a moment for Doom, who was getting lapped. That was Doom getting lapped to the left-hand side there. But Jensen, 13th position. Repaz, that has really not worked out for the Mercedes boys. Montana obviously net 3rd. Repaz now, though, net 9th position for Repaz. Yeah, he's on a fresher set of tyres, but he's stuck in a big old DRS train, so it negates it somewhat.
What I'm looking forward to now is seeing what the front 5 do, because they could really win the lottery from an SC at any point from now, but at some point they want to get back in it, and they want to put the softs on, get the most out of them at some point. So someone's going to gamble, someone's going to win, someone's going to lose, I feel. Someone's going to definitely stay out or go in too early. You just don't know which is which at the moment.
Yeah, definitely so, and I think, honestly, if a mistake was to come from the guys that are on fresher set of medium compound tyres and that deploys a safety car out on track, then it'll throw the race completely wide open, because Verstappen, Rocco and the lights, they're what, 5 seconds ahead, I would say, of Nathan, looking at the gap to the lead. Yeah, about 5 seconds, 5.2 seconds, the gap between Verstappen and Nathan. Nathan is not going to be too far away. What do the guys do on the set of medium, on an older set of medium compound tyres? Do they decide to come in, or do they decide to stay out and push Nathan into a big old DRS train, back him up into Neo and Montana, and then all hell breaks loose?
This is it. This is it. I think those softs are really, you want to be on them 13, 14 laps max, so I think they're going to catch just before it becomes a problem. Of course, it could also mean, if I'm in that medium train there, and I see that happen, that might be the trigger for me to pit and be, right, okay, I don't want to cost myself time, I don't want these guys ramming me, I'm just going to get in, I'm going to put the softs on now. So it could work both ways.
Rocco, by the way, I think is out of the DRS train, and now Larkin saunters past him down the inside line through 15. Rocco did not pick up any DRS here, and he could be prone to Izza closing on him in behind as well. He will stay in 3rd for now, but he has lost the position to Larkin, so Larkin through and he's up into 2nd. Rocco there in 3rd. Daniel on the back of Dillon going side by side, and Dillon actually sends it on Campbell, and there's contact between them both, and Dillon, that really wasn't needed. He just completely messed up his braking point, realised that Daniel was still on the outside of line of him, and I think he got off-put by the McLaren, to be honest, trying to go all the way around the outside. It was a bit of a false hesitation, to be honest, between the McLaren and the Red Bull, and the Red Bull obviously just messed up his braking point, got forced into a mistake by Daniel, and Dillon has ended up going into the side of Campbell. Luckily, I don't think any front wing damage.
That was very lap 1 Sebastian Vettel 2012, wasn't it?
Yeah. totally agree. And look at the tyres as well. His tyres are now really beginning to overheat, so we need to race on the drive on the racing line for him to basically pick up that tyre wear once again. He's on 7-lap-old medium, so he's on one of the more extensive stints on this fresh set of medium compounded tyres. Izzo, by the way, now on the back of Rocco, coming through Sabino's boxes, and Rocco again is now down into 4th position, because this is now turning into 3rd, and Justas, interestingly, into the pit lane. This will be for a set of softs, but look at how much clear air he is going to be coming out in. If Justas isn't on the back of the safety car, isn't on the back of the DRS train in a few laps' time, then goodness me, Justas could be maybe one of the ones to beat later on in the race, especially if there's a safety car.
Yeah, absolutely. I think does he have a pen though? It's not showing because he's obviously in the pit at the moment. I think
3 seconds.
So it might mean that Verstappen, Larkin and Izzat and Rocco aren't as inclined to react to that for obvious reasons, because he's got that big time pin. So yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what they do. Someone will probably react, but Larkin is starting to really put pressure on Verstappen. Fair play for a man who often lacks quali places. Race pace is often far more exceptional than his quali play.
Yeah, definitely. So I think Verstappen as well. Now, I'm going to have a look at this, because Neil's currently running net P2. If Verstappen comes into the pit lane, and he is, so this will be the indicator where the championship is going to run. Jordi has got a 10-second penalty for corner cutting. That's through turn 9, that was. Very strange. I'm sure that will get removed by the stewards if needs be. Larkin leading the way. Rocco in 2nd. Nathan in 3rd. I think Rocco will move out the way for Nathan. But now Verstappen into the pit lane. This puts him outside of the points. Neo is in 4th. Now I have to do calculations. He was Nathan is side by side with Rocco, and actually they fight down in towards turn 4, and actually Rocco leaves him short of room, and Nathan is not happy with this at all, and Rocco holding up, and now Neo has got a chance to go around, and in fact Neo is through, and Nathan is now side by side with Montana. What on earth has happened here? And now the Brit and the Swissman now going side by side as Jordi retires into the pit lane. Montana on the inside line though, trying to force the move now, coming through turn 9 and then in towards Cottovello at turn 10. Nathan's still on the inside line. Whether or not he's got damage, I think he's got right side end plate damage if I'm not mistaken. In all of that, he hasn't, but Montana through turn 11 gets the job done just before Jun Sao, and Montana through and he's into 4th position. What on earth happened there though between Rocco and Nathan?
Oh, let's give him Montana the run. Because Neo had to back out of it. Just give him Montana the run. He's going to get Neo.
It's a drag race down in towards turn 1 with the centre S as now Montana takes the race lead, believe it or not. Neo in 2nd. Nathan is into the pit lane, so he must have had damage in all of that. Nathan into the pit, must have had damage. Montana leading the way. Neo in 2nd. Neil Broom in 3rd. This race has gone completely and utterly mad now, out on track. Whoa. And Jordi, AI car, literally not get out of the way, and that is ridiculous. For obviously he must have retired in the pit lane, but at least retire in your box for goodness sake. Montana leading the way. Neo in 2nd, Yildirim in 3rd, and that, luckily, I think the ghosting system would have been on there, but that could have been absolutely monumental.
Thing is, though, it only happened last second where he went transparent. I actually genuinely made me jump because I was like, not bored with Neo. You can hear, if you go back, you'll hear a gasp come through because I was literally scared the life out of it. But yeah, just that Justas is obviously in a good spot, but Dylan is being a bit of a roadblock. But I can't see past the front 7 now. It's just a shame. Repaz, if he didn't extend this stint, God, I tell you what, the Aston Martins will not be happy with some of the capers they've encountered from a few people this race, and they'll be deeply frustrated. But as it stands, I believe that they are not going to overtake the Haas boys. It depends on Campbell. It really depends on Campbell, and of course Verstappen, because he should also fly for a little bit. But yeah, really difficult. Neo definitely needs to hold steady, and it just depends on whether Campbell can stay where he is.
And Drivers' Championship update as well, and I'm frantically doing this just in my head at the minute. Verstappen is side by side actually with Dylan, and down the inside line in towards turn 6. That's a lovely move from Verstappen. So he's now up into 10th position. 10th position, remember, only gets 3 points. Neo in 2nd gets 18. The gap between Verstappen and Neo, 23 points. So Verstappen at the minute will be 2nd in the driver's standings. Justas there in third in the standings. He's ninth and just ahead of him actually out on track. But it could still all change, and it probably will, as now Daniel is side by side with Campbell on the run down in towards someone. So Haas lose now another position in terms of their constructors' fights. So they're 5th and 10th. Nathan down in 15th position. Izzer is side by side with Dylan further down the field, and Yulbrim on the back of Neo trying to get the move done. Now down in towards the Cedar del Lago. Montana leading the way. Neo in second, Yulbrim in third. I can't believe I'm literally saying this. We're only 2/3 through the race.
Crazy, absolutely crazy. So the gap, when you consider Neo and Campbell for the constructors, is now down to 1 point. But when you factor back in Verstappen, back up to 4 points. So Nathan's mistake or issue, I'm not going to say it was a mistake, it could have been, not his fault. That will be the difference as it stands between Aston overtaking Haas or not.
Yeah, there was definite either front wing damage for Nathan or side pod damage, possibly for Nathan as well, and that could have easily impacted on his race result. I mean, he's 15th position. Ideally, he needs a safety car at this point to try and be spawned out on track. Yulbrim, by the way, on the back of Neo, and do you know what? I think Neo's going to have a go at Montana for the race lead here. The German on the back of the Swiss, down the inside line in towards turn 1. Yulbrim waits in behind as well, and Montana doesn't want to try and take the DRS, but he might have to, and he goes side by side, and that was cheeky from Montana. Did he pick up the DRS though? He did, and now Montana's going to have the run down in towards the Cedar del Lago. Is he going to wait behind? No! Switches to the inside line, and now Montana sends it down the inside line. Has he gone too deep? He has, and now Neil tries to come back in, cause a concentrating effect. Where's Daniel came from in all of this? He's in the 4th position, Campbell in 5th, Jensen there in 6th. The front 8 now covered by 3 seconds, well 2.2 seconds in fact out on track. This race is going crazy, and we've still got 12 laps to go.
This is awful for Campbell. They must know they're ahead of the constructors as it stands, and he's just thinking, can you all just go away? You just go 2 seconds up the road, you go 2 seconds back, I'll take 5th, job's a good one. Neo's not going to beat Montana. That would be my attitude anyway, and I think it's a fair attitude.
I mean, this train almost is as much as the CNRSs themselves. That is how much the train actually is. It's, what, 2.2 seconds. Neo on the back of Montana, though, to the outside line. Gets the move done down in towards turn. There's a yellow flag, and it's Nathan that has spun. Nathan has spun through turn 11, through Magudio at turn 11, and now Montana is under pressure from Yilgrim. And these two former teammates really don't like each other. And now Yilgrim going side by side. Montana pulls out, and it could be 3 wide in towards the Cedar del Lago, but Montana sends it down the inside line. Lovely stuff, and Yilgrim could have had the run on Montana. He didn't, he waits in behind, but still, 11 laps to go. Montana leading the way, Neo in second, Yilgrim in third. Can't I say it already? It's an instant classic.
This is very interesting. Nathan back on the softs. He's kind of given up a little bit. I mean, he needs to be careful. Don't get lapped, because if there's a safety car, you're back in it, sir. You know, you've got a pen, and there's pens all around you. So chill out a little bit. But here comes the next big issue. Can Neo... See, the problem with Neo is that he probably doesn't want to push to overtake Montana at this point. There's no value in it. But Yilgrim is going absolute hell for leather to get Neo. So he in turn has to push, use the overtake, and get close to Montana. This is all being driven from Yilgrim, and I'm absolutely all for it.
Yeah, Yilgrim has got 4 lap pressure tyres in all of this as well. Jensen is right involved in this on the back of Campbell. Daniel not too far off either. We saw Daniel try and look down the inside line of turn 7 last lap around. Yilgrim on the back of Neo. Neo on the back of Montana. Look at Yilgrim's closing speed though. Is he going to be close enough down and towards the Cedar del Lago? No, we'll remain as we are. Montana leading the way. Neo in second. Yilgrim in third. 10 laps to go. And still, do not count out those soft compounded tyres. Justas and Verstappen are 3.7 seconds off. Verstappen has got to utilise Justas up to his best effect. He has got the pace to close in. Can the Lithuanian bring Verstappen and Izza with him? Larkin, Dylan, Rocco possibly could come in this. And do you know what? If Justas gets onto the back of this train, we could have a 12-car battle for the lead in Brazil.
I think the only way that Aston Martin beat Haas in this constructors is if, and this sounds bizarre, so bear with me, is if Neo lets Yilgrim go.
I think he should, though. I think he should. I don't think Neo's got the pace on those tyres. And Yilgrim has looked quicker when he's been under DRS. Now, he's closing in down in towards turn 1. Not close enough this time, though. And Yilgrim, I think, should be utilised, because he's got quicker pace than Neo, and if I was in Neo's position, you know what happened, obviously, in Mexico, where contact was made, I would try and use that, utilise that to a very similar effect. Yildirim on the back of Neo, not going to get the move done, and in fact, there was a little bit of a touch there from Yildirim on the back of Neo. Still Montana leading. Verstappen, by the way, on the back of Justas. There is a yellow flag, and it's Doom retired in the pit lane. Got excited for a minute there, but it's Doom retiring in the pit lane. Justas, by the way, 3 seconds now. The gap was 3.7 last time around. Justas has gained another 0.8 of a second on this pack. If they all fall each other, Justas and Verstappen are going to be on the back of this queue in 3 laps' time.
Yeah, Izzat and Verstappen will be loving this. Absolutely loving this, because he's dragging them along, and he's obviously got the pen, so he's almost doing a bit of a charitable favour to them at this point. But Yildirim all over the back of Neo. It is worth. I mean, look, giving up a place and losing 3 points never sounds particularly sensible in these spots, but I feel like it might be.
It might be. Neo down the straights looks quick, but Yildirim looks even quicker through the corners compared to Neo, and I think if he was given clear air, Yildirim would be quicker than Neo, and I think he'd be quicker than Montana as well, so he's got to be trying to utilise that up. And now Neo actually with a bit of a slow run coming out through turn 3, and now this is Yildirim's chance. Can he go to the outside line? No, he can't. In behind, Jensen on the back of Campbell was nearly side by side, but still stays in 5th and 6th position. This is still building really nicely indeed though. Montana leading the way, Neo in 2nd, Yildirim in 3rd, Daniel in 4th, Campbell, Jensen, Repaz, Cantera, the front 8 are covered. Literally, you could throw a towel over the front 8. 2.7 seconds is the gap between them. But it just looks like now, with Neo beginning to hold up Montana, I think this might be Montana's race to lose.
I'm surprised Montana didn't smell blood there. I think he got it right, and try and just use overtaking a lot of spots just to try and break DRS. It has to be now. It has to be now.
Well, let's find out. Yeah, that's fine. Yildirim, I don't think is close enough though down in towards turn 1. It's still, I think, turn 4, where it could be the possibility of opportunity to try and get the move. Cantera, by the way, side by side, and Jensen trying to go around the outside of Campbell there, but now Repaz and Cantera are side by side, right at the back of this train, and there's contact. Repaz just slams the door shut on Cantera. Cantera, luckily, still hasn't got any damage as a result of that, and now Jensen is side by side, down in towards turn 4, gets the job done. So Jensen out there, and he's into 5th, and he has been astutely just picking his way through this little bit of a DRS train. Cantera, though, slammed the door shut. Repaz more at fault than him.
I think Repaz snatched it. I think he literally just got a bit of oversteer. I don't think that was purposely done, and he just kind of sideboarded him. So it was an accident, but yeah, not the best, but definitely not his fault as such. Oh, Campbell nearly losing it here. Tell you what, maybe Neo doesn't need to do this, because if Campbell loses another spot, they are only 2 points ahead then, the Haas boys.
And then they've got Justas and Verstappen in behind as well. So Campbell's insurance policy is only 3 cars behind. Cantera, though, on the back of Campbell, this is looking closer than ever, and now is the Spaniard, Repaz now, on the back of Campbell. Oh, and there's contact more between Repaz, and Repaz somehow gets that car stopped. That was a great move in the end. Repaz soon he's into 6th. He got force spun up by Cantera slightly. Yildirim on the back of Neo is still looking close, but it's not close enough. 6 laps to go. Montana leading the way. Neo in 2nd, Yildirim in 3rd. Do you know how I said Montana was trying to steal away with this race? It's only 0.5 of a second for the lead, and Neo is doing a sterling job to try and keep up with him.
He is, but he's in a better spot in a lot of senses, and I feel like it's definitely still his to lose, and I feel Yildirim's tried to push too much without success to get past Neo, so I can't see too much past him. But I tell you what, this isn't over necessarily for the podium in particular. Because as usual, do you remember we had a race where Daniel and Jensen were the 2 quickest on the track, and I feel like we're back there again.
Yeah, the 4th and 5th, I think Jensen probably more quicker than Daniel. Daniel just being a little bit hesitant in terms of trying to make his move. Look at Yildirim's line though, coming through out of turn 15. He took much more of an inside line compared to Neo. In behind, by the way, Cantera steaming up the inside line of Campbell in towards turn 1. And now the Spaniard and the Scotsman go side by side, and Cantera waltzes around the outside of turn 2. Great stuff from Cantera. He is through and he's into 7th. Campbell will try and fight back, but that is a lovely move by Cantera. He might have penalties, but still he can put up a fight. He's through and he's into 7th.
I tell you what, as it stands, it is a dead heat by my calculations. Unless Cantera keeps pushing away, if Cantera can break 3 seconds to Verstappen, the Astons win.
Wow. So it all really spans on an L plan even, to try and get the constructors for the Astons. This could be quite strange.
Yeah, absolutely, and it just depends because Campbell's pace looks shot to bits. I wonder, has he got a little bit of damage somewhere from one of these battles, because he's really struggling.
He must do, and look at Justas now using up that deployment up the hill through the Sabinos Lost boxes once again. Lap 33 about to begin. Lap 32 in fact, no, it's lap 33 about to begin. Montana leads the way, Neo in second, Yildirim in third, Justas on the back of Campbell, not getting the move done. But does Justas realise that Haas are on the brink to try and lose their advantage on the Astons in terms of the constructors? Probably not. Yildirim on the back of Neo once again, closing in. Down the inside line goes Yildirim. Can he get the move done? He gets short of room and he spins, and that was just desperation at its finest. Yildirim down the inside line, and now that puts Haas in a more promising position. Yildirim down from third position. Now Verstappen's up to 9th, passing Izzer, I think, and Campbell now into 8th, and Justas actually got through on Campbell and all that, so Justas then he's into 7th, Campbell now in 8th, and now Haas, I think, are on once again for the constructors.
I have to disagree. I think that's an absolute dagger to the Astons for one reason, is that Daniel is going to be absolutely rapid, as is Jensen, and I think actually he was the buffer. Yildirim was the buffer, and I feel like this is just turned on its head.
Let's find out though, because Daniel doesn't look as quick down the straight as what Neo does. And he's not close enough down and towards turn 1. Lap 34 out of 36. I really do not know how we haven't had a VSC or a safety car. This race has been insane. Yildirim 5-second penalty retires out the race, which is so unfortunate. And now Daniel is side by side with Neo down the inside line in towards the seat of the Largo. Gets the car stopped and he through and he's into P2. Can he push for the race win now on Montana? 3 laps to go. 2.5 if you're being picky. Montana leading the way. Daniel in second. Neo in third. Jensen's not entirely out of this either. Aston's now going from bad to worse.
Yeah, really, really awful luck. There's so many circumstances here that this race could have gone so many ways.
Oh, repass down the inside line of Jensen. Sorry to cut you off. The Mercedes down the inside line of the Ferrari. This could help out massively. Repass around the outside of turn 11 through Magulio and now through John Sau. Jensen very late on the brakes. How he got that car stopped, I do not know. And Repass tried to get back underneath him. Now Daniel, though, is attacking for the race lead. And Montana spun out of turn 14. Montana was spun out the race lead. He loses his front wing. And now with 2 laps to go, Daniel now in the lead of the race. Neo in second, Jensen in third. It's a good job. That is on this more contact. Repaz and Jensen side by side. And now Repaz is through and he's into P3 and Jensen's off as well. Absolute carnage here as we go into the final 2 laps. Cantera now on the back of Repaz. Daniel leading the way. Neo in second. Repaz third. Cantera fourth. My goodness me. This race has just gone from literally 50 to 110 in about 2 seconds.
He had a puncture. Montana had a puncture.
Wow.
That's the reason why he pit. He had a puncture. I called it in the pit lane. Unbelievable.
And that was... How many laps was that on? Neil's on 24 laps, and I think he's going further than what Montana was.
I think that means Montana was running lower temps, lower pressures. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Neo will be confident in getting these to the end. But yeah, this is absolutely crazy stuff, and Repaz is going to be fighting for his life. I think he's going to get Neo here. I can't see Neo defending this realistically.
Nathan's going to get lapped as well and all of this. Daniel into the final lap of the race. Repaz now steams down the inside line. Cantera's going to follow, and Cantera follows down the inside line, pushes Neo out the way, but Cantera through and he's into P3. Can he now get Repaz with just a lap to go? Daniel leading the way. He is absolutely shot out of a bolt, quite literally, and now Justas and Neo are side by side, and Cantera on the outside line of Repaz gets the job done. In towards the seat of the logo. He is through and he's into P2. Repaz through and he's in P3, and now Justas through and he's into P4. So Justas making moves, half a lap to go. Daniel leading, Cantera second. Who would have predicted this top 3?
Absolutely unbelievable. Hope Cantera gets that pen removed. That'd be fantastic. Brilliant guy. I'd love to see him stand on the podium properly, but Repaz tell you what, Repaz is gonna be able to fight to the line with him as well. I know that pens are gonna make that kind of unimportant, but could be close.
It could be really close indeed, but Daniel coming around the final corner, and as long as he doesn't pick up a puncture like what Montana did or doesn't run out of fuel, he is going to be winning a third race of the season. Daniel now running around the final corner to the line, and he wins in Brazil. Cantera in second, Repaz in the end is second, Cantera all the way down to sixth. Look at where Hassa finished in the end, fourth and fifth, Campbell and Verstappen, unbelievable. Cantera in sixth, Izza in seventh, Jensen in eighth, Justas in ninth. Penalties might be removed and all this, so don't take it with a pinch of salt. Larkin in 10th, Rocco in 11th, Montana in the end going for 1 point. Montana drove absolutely dominantly throughout that race. Oh, he picks up the new fastest lap of the race as well. Why wouldn't he? He's the 12th position in the end. Dylan across the line to 13. What could have it been for him? Wouter has run out of fuel. Nathan's on the other side of the track, so it's not really going to impact on Nathan trying to get him. But Wouter across the line to finish in P14. He's ran out of fuel late on. And we wait on Nathan to finish in P15. Goodness me. Season finale and a half, I think that was. Daniel wins, Repaz second, Neo in third. And look at how close Neo, all the way down to Justas is. My God.
Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely crazy. I mean, do feel it for Montana there, because he did drive well, but I just knew it would open the door. When as soon as Jorgen had gone, it opened the door for Daniel. I don't know if Daniel would have been able to get past all three of them. In fact, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have. But that's a case of keeping it cool, keeping it tidy, and that must have been a dagger in the heart to Neo, because he was almost kind of being minded by Jorgen and Montana.
Yeah, and for the final time this season, Daniel on the top step of the podium. A fantastic win, of course. He won in Austria last season, backed that up once again with another Austrian win, sixth in the standings, and he gets a second win of the season. Not his third, he gets a second win of the season after Austria, round 8 of the championship. Fantastic run from him. I think he's took Rocco for 5th position in terms of the Drivers' Championship as well in all of that. So a fantastic result from Daniel to get P5. But it is Daniel Allen, top 10th on the grid up to 1st. Fantastic drive from him. Repaz in 2nd, drove astutely well in the end. Somehow, he's finished in P2. Great drive. Neo in 3rd, Campbell in 4th, Verstappen in 5th, Cantera in 6th, Izza in 7th, Jensen in 8th, Justas in 9th, and without the penalties, do you know what? The top 9 are covered by 7 seconds. That is unbelievable. Larkin in 10th, Rocco in 11th, Montana, he said in the comments, 71% he got that puncture on, and it's after 70%, well, obviously, you can run the risk of getting a puncture. Montana still picks up a point though, finishing 12th. Doesn't matter because he's already won the championship. Dylan in 13th, Ruta in 14th, Nathan in 15th. What could have it been for him? Nathan in 15th, Yilbeam in 16th, retiring in the pit lane. Hume as well in 17th, and Yordi in 18th. Only 3 DNFs. What an eventful race though. Daniel winning, Repaz second, Neo in 3rd. I think we should try and get the top 3 in.
I'm not going to invite Daniel because he doesn't ever go in. He doesn't like to have these chats. I would invite the Repaz and I'll invite Neo, but there's no Daniel never comes in, and that's fair enough.
Yeah, that is absolutely fantastic, and I know Neo will probably come in for an interview. Not sure about Repaz, I don't think we've heard of him this season so far, so it might only be the case where we get one interview. But before everyone decides to come into the interviews, I have a little bit of an announcement to make. Yes, nobody knows that I'm doing this, but of course, season 5, I've been here 5 seasons in LOE, and I've absolutely enjoyed all of my time here commentating on Division 1 races. Pretty much now nearly 100, I think I can calculate just off the top of my head here in LOE Division 1. And I was going to say, before this race came about, that I wasn't really going to be commentating next season. I was considering quitting as terms of commentary, but if we get a race like that every time, count me in for a 6th season of LOE Division 1, because that was absolutely incredible. And my mind, I don't have to wait until the Christmas break, my mind is already made up. So you're going to be seeing me for a 6th season, hopefully. That's if they want me, of course, for Division 1 next season. So there we are.
Good man. Good to hear. I was a bit worried there. That kind of scared me. We're already getting, in the real life, in the world of Formula One, we're getting rid of an old dusty alcoholic in Formula One, which is either Bryn Mike, not Kimi Räikkönen, and we don't need to lose anyone else. But yeah, big. I know this isn't the place, but big shout out to Mike for all of his services to the league, and I know there was a nice message sent out from the league on that. But hopefully we can get at least one of these guys in.
Yeah, I concur, by the way, on Mike. I commentate alongside him in LOE F2, and I do that for EML as well, and TTML. We commentate together, and there is not a nicer man you could meet in the commentary box and as a friend, really. And I think, honestly, he's been such a part of LOE over the last 6 seasons now, and I know he will be missed. I know he will be missed within the commentary box. You will miss the Welsh wit, as I put in my tweet on Twitter, and he is honestly one of the guys that you would want alongside you in a commentary box. Not to disown Mark at all here, but he is one of those guys that you do want in a commentary box with you, just because of his soft nature, really, and for everything that he has been through. I think we have to pay him a lot of respect, and just say the door is still open if he does want to come back for commentary, because honestly, LOE probably won't be the same without him.
Absolutely, I echo every single one of those sentiments. I prefer him to you too, so yeah, screw you, that's fine.
Larkin, by the way, putting in the comments section, James, I cried after your DM earlier, playing with my emotions. Yes, I did say to Larkin that I was considering quitting LOE commentary and thinking about not having another season in LOE, but after that race, my god, I mean, George Morgan was in the comments section, so I really hope he enjoyed that if he's been watching. But every single person, every single driver, and every single commentator in this league is what makes LOE take over. And obviously we've had a few challenges. Obviously a new Discord server being created and all that. I'm not going to go into the details of that on a public stream. But as part of Season 6, it has been absolutely fantastic. Of course, more action to come later on tonight at 8:10 in about 25 minutes' time. Division 2 and Division 5. I believe there is still a battle in one of those championships, if I'm not mistaken. I hope there is.
Well, there's a constructors title. Oh, no. There's a constructors title in Division 4. If you really, really want to tune in to something, D2 has a heated battle between me and Nolan to get 10th place, to get the top 10. I'm 7 points clear. He's rapid. We've got Rudy involved. We've got Scream involved. We've got Matt Tibos involved. There's a lot going on. There's a decent constructors issues as well. Genuinely, it's going to be good fun. D2 I'd highly recommend tuning into. It could be some drama. And hopefully there's a bit of weather. You know, Brazil's normally famous for it. We didn't get any there.
Yeah, it is normally famous for weather. We didn't have it in here in Division 1. We had an absolute fantastic race, and just comes to show, dry racing around this track really does bring a lot of result. My voice is honestly completely gone after that race, and I really do appreciate every single one of you tuning into these streams week in, week out. It's the first time, actually, I think in 2 seasons, that I've made every single commentary, because normally I'm ill around this time. It is literally absolutely brilliant to have every single one of you tuning into the comments and really supporting LOE, because LOE wouldn't be the same without the viewers, and certainly not without the drivers and my fellow commentators as well.
Lads, just one quick plug. I don't think we're going to have any interviews. No one's kind of joining. Either Bryn Mike may well be getting his first podium this season in his last race. There's 2 laps to go in D4. Go cheer him on. Go give him some love. And yeah, I can't wait for next season. I don't know what I'll be doing. I'll be here, but I'll just get put wherever I get told, as per. But yeah, go grab that race. But it's been a pleasure, James. Genuinely, I've really enjoyed stepping up and watching the aliens. I tend to, I'll be honest, this is the first season I've enjoyed it. I've had to do it before in the days of PRL where I did it by myself, and it was the most dull thing to do by yourself.
Mike's close to the back of Ruta, but he's not close enough. Camke is fighting with Mac Dutchface for Division 4. Do you know what? I might as well try and commentate on the final 2 laps here, if you want a simultaneous commentary going on. Ryan leading the way, 4.8 seconds. The Bolt has already bolted out the blue. Alt Maverick second. Mike is 3/10 off Wouter for third. And Wouter doing a fantastic... Go on, Mike's off! Mike is off! Coming through turn 8 of all places, and he's now down in P5. So Jav your prediction of Mike getting the podium, you can now wipe your tears in terms of that, because Mike has just spun, bottled it by himself, and now Mike is down into P5, and his podium possibility has now well and truly gone. Unless every single driver pulls over and he gets the win, then I don't think it's going to happen.
Poor Mike. We've done it again.
It's because I tuned in. That's why.
Well,
and he's going to be overtaken. In fact, my back Dutch race down towards turn 1. Final lap of the race. Mike is still on the inside line. And to be fair, really fighting in terms of the battle. But he has got more outworn tyres than McDutchface. Should be through and is through down in towards the Cedar Lago. He's through and he's into 5th. See, I'm a dab hand at this.
He went out how we remembered him, spinning on a track he doesn't like. And I tell you what, the fact he's the poor lad, the fact he's had to endure 2 commentaries of that spin as well. He gets the double pain of that. The poor man.
We can't even edit this out either. That's the worst thing about it. McDutchface in 5th. It looks like Ryan is going to take the win. 5.1 seconds ahead of Alt Maverick. He's coming through the final couple of corners. And the Mercedes already weaving down the straight. He is going to win. He's slowing down to take the checkered flag. And Ryan B will win Brazilian Grand Prix for Division 4. Alt Maverick will finish 2nd, I think, comfortably. As long as he doesn't have 6 seconds worth of penalties, he'll finish comfortably in 2nd. And he does. Mr. Rooter in 3rd. Cam Mullen will be 6th, I think. Mike is 5th in the end. Was getting close quite quickly by Marty in behind. Marty finished 6th and only 2 tenths behind him.
Oh, poor lad. Honestly, I feel awful for the lad. He's just... But you know what? In all seriousness, he won't mind too much. He will be gutted, but you know what? He went out, like I say, half joking how we remembered him.
Yeah, and I think still, 5th position, final race of the season, it's better than I can do, certainly in any sort of race, i.e. LOE F2 Belgium, led for 8 of the 9 laps and finished in 9th. So, I'm even worse of a bottle than Mike. So there we are.
Right, it's been a pleasure, sir. I am going to head. I'm going to let you give you the last words for the stream. I've got to quickly run off and do something for the race. But it's been a pleasure, and I'll leave you to close us out for the year.
Yeah, no worries. It has been a pleasure, Mark. Go and enjoy your evening and go and enjoy your Division 2 race as well.
Thank you, mate. I'll speak to you soon.
See ya. And that is pretty much the end of the stream. Fantastic, of course, to even try and commentate on the Division 4 action that was going on. As I said earlier on, if you want more action to come, Division 2 and Division 5 live in 19 minutes time on the channel. It is, of course, J. Cole and Daniel Hoggard taking to the action for Division 2 and Division 5. It is Mr. Ivan Bryn Mike himself, and I think it's Tin Can that is alongside him in the comment box as well for that. So, you've heard it here first. Go and support Mike in his final commentary for LOE, and go and support, of course, Mark in Division 2 as well. But that is the end for tonight's live stream. Really hope you enjoyed the race. Certainly I did. If you did, like, comment, subscribe. Take that notification bell, of course, if you are new. We'll be back, I'm assuming, late January, early February, round about that time, for the start of season number 7 here in LOE. My 6th season, hopefully, in Division 1, and I really hope you're going to be tuning in for that. But for now, I've been James Head, of course, Mark Aldridge, alongside me in the comment box. Please take care of yourselves in this crazy world that we all live in, and until next time, goodbye.